Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
Brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com and Supercon 2018 Return of the Con.
Hey everyone, keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my right, we have Rhino himself, Alex. Alex, how you doing?
Hello everyone.
And across from me, we have Colossus himself, Garrett. How you doing?
I'm feeling pretty shell-tastic.
And I am the Juggernaut. My name is Marvin. We're all big, tough guys.
Wait, can you say it better? Can you be like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch? Isn't that what he says?
I don't like that.
Well, that's his tagline.
No, it isn't. It's from
It was a redubbed.
It's from a parody that Brett Ratner saw and was like, let me put that in this movie. Yeah, it's a redub thing, like Alex said.
It's redubbed?
Yeah, because it's not from the original series.
Yeah, you think
it's not like it was a Saturday morning cartoon. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
No, obviously not. I'm saying
Every kid went to school the next morning going,
in X3
I'm
says
the
it.
Juggernaut, bitch.
The guy says it. That's what I know.
He does because it's a parody.
Again, I was pre-woo when the animated series for X-Men
You
came
can't
out.
take anything
That actually could be true, but it's not.
You can't take anything that Brett Ratner put in that movie as gospel. And if you've seen this parody video, there's no way you thought that was real.
What parody video are we talking about?
There's a parody video of the cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen
Get out of
it.
my
Oh,
head,
dude.
Charles. You never seen that? It's actually pretty funny, but then people ran that shit into the ground. That's why I don't like that anymore.
Or like remix into a song and stuff?
This is
The Juggernaut, bitch.
Wednesday Comics. We're here to tell you what the comics that came out the week of June
27th.
June 27th, 2018. The last week in June. Here comes July, baby. And we're also here to give you new readers if you don't read comic books, or if you know somebody who is trying to get into it, some books to pick up and start reading. But before we get to that, DC Comics was like, Marvel Unlimited. They said, hey, don't get too cocky. We're coming in. They said, Netflix, watch out, baby. We're coming. And they said, we're going to make DC Universe. It's going to be their streaming service. But they said, hey, we just can't make TV shows because nobody's going to buy it just for our TV shows. We need to get something else. So they announced today what they're going to do. And I'm here to tell you. They announced that DC Universe will launch with the Titans TV show.
Damn.
DC Movies on Demand. Thousands of comics and more. So here we go. Titans will launch with DC Universe, followed by Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing, and the animated Young Justice Outsiders and Harley Quinn series in 2019. Originally, Young Justice was scheduled to debut in 2018, got pushed back. So Titans right away. And then they'll move on to, I'm a little low here. Put me back up. They move on to the other stuff. So that's going to be their original series. That's the first component. They said, hey, we're going to make original content for you, starting with this TV series and the animated 2 shows. And that's what they're going to do. But they said, hey, that's not enough for you. Let's say we are going to go back and we're going to give you our old TV shows. So animated shows, Batman, the animated series, they name dropped. But they did. Here's the little thing that they announced, and I think many people noticed it. They're going to remaster it and put it on there. So it's probably going to be like HD, like clean it up.
Nice.
And you know what? I have the wrong article open because this one does not tell me anything about that.
Right there, that'd be something I would be like, okay, I need to get that. I need to watch that.
That preview they released, I mean, I at least know the first 2 Superman movies are in there, if it's based on that preview. Some of the Michael Keaton, the 70s anthology of Batman will be in there.
I would be interested to see Swamp Thing to see what they decide to do.
The original Wonder Woman series, the TV show, will be on there also, remastered. See all 4 original Superman movies, starring Christopher Reeve.
So only have those first 2 or 3?
1, 2, 3?
They will have their animated feature films, which include Green Lantern, First Flight, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Flashpoint, and they will have here. So they said, hey, here's a bunch of old stuff, our old movies and our old TV shows, anything that we've done DC. Here you go, on demand. Watch it whenever you want to. Watch Batman, Tim Burton a million times if you want to. Not that you don't own it, but if it's on demand, like you could be at work with your phone and say, hey, let me watch this thing.
It could be 2K.
And then they said, hey, that's not enough for you. How about comics? You want comic books? So they said they're going to launch with over 1,000 comics, and from Action Comics #1 to Rebirth #1. I think they just said that just to be like, hey, it's everything. But at first they said it's just going to be like a select cultivated list over 1,000 comics. It's not going to be
not a lot of comics.
But also, listen, like when Marvel Unlimited first launched, it was only over 1,000 comics, and they eventually started adding more stuff. So I think that's why they're not to a point now where they're like, hey, we don't have everything scanned in. We're going to launch with this, and we'll add more stuff as we go. Because Marvel Unlimited still adds stuff today, like older stuff. Like every time you look at it.
Well, at least they're starting with the best run ever. So
they did say you can read the original Detective Comics run, Action Comics run. So I think they are like finding major things, and like that's going to be on there. So I mean, it's great. It's better than nothing right now.
yeah,
And maybe eventually everything will be
I'll
on
be
there once you get it
entertained.
scanned. It's scanned in. So that they said also that if you want to buy stuff from them, they're gonna have an exclusive shop on there, so you can buy stuff. And then they're going to have like some sort of community thing so you can talk to people. Whatever. I don't really care about that. But they also said that, hey, this is something you can do on your phone, your tablet. Then they're going to have some sort of app. I'm assuming like PS4, Xbox One. So you can watch these movies on there. And said, hey, you can read the comics on there too, so you can read them on your TV. Which actually is pretty cool. Like I don't think there's nothing right now that you can like read a comic on your TV. Can you imagine, Garrett, your TV, you're in your room. Action Comics.
I've done it with Watchmen, the motion comic movie.
I know. Imagine you can read Watchmen on your TV. Actually, the actual thing. I don't know how that.
Ooh.
I don't know how that'll work. Like, how do you go to panel and stuff like that? But I mean, they'll figure it out. But if it's like timed or if you move it, so this thing they announced that it's coming August. What month is it? June. But they didn't announce a price yet.
$89.99.
Does this still excite you with all this stuff that's going to be on there, or
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it does. Launching with a new TV show like Titans, like, how long is everyone... Okay, obviously Chris O'Donnell has been Dick Grayson. How long do we want to see the real Dick Grayson sans bat nipple on, like, TV?
you don't like
live action?
26-year-old Chris O'Donnell saying that, getting in trouble for trying to run away, like he's not a legal adult? Don't you go back and listen to our Batman Forever commentary when he's like, you can't leave. You're under my custody. He's like, the dude's fucking 26 years old.
Yeah.
Nah, he's only 18.
No, in that movie, they say he's like 23 or something like that. We make fun of that, being like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure you can fucking leave.
You can do whatever you
at
want.
23.
I don't think you need to be adopted.
But you're right, though. Like, this kind of Titans story, which the Starfire is going to be on the team, Dick, who else?
Grayson.
Beast Boy, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, all these people are going to be on this team. We've never seen them in live action before. And they've released some stills, and it's launching with this. They feel comfortable enough to be like, we're launching with Titans. I am excited to see if it's good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure there'll be free trials, too.
I'm sure, yeah.
But I'm going in the full Monty.
So what aspect of it, and we'll go around the table here, like, what about it would excite you? Is it the comics? Is it the movies? Is it the TV shows?
Honestly, I think it's going to be a combo. My #1 is the comics. Like, to be able to go back and read every single issue of Detective and Action Comics or Superman, that excites me to no end. Like, to be able to have that ability to do that.
You want to go back and read Grounded. So,
I will read it because it's part of the storyline.
You'll torture yourself like that?
Oh, I would do it. How cool would it be to say, I've read every single comic, every single Action comic, and every single Superman
Well, your brother's
comic.
trying to do that right now with Spider-Man. He's trying to read every single amazing issue.
Yeah,
so.
he's found a list where...
and all the Web of Spider-Man and all the other combinations of them.
So, like, you're right. I mean,
it could happen.
He could be the Spider-Man aficionado if he knows all of it. And you want to be the Superman aficionado.
I mean, more than I already am, but yeah.
I mean, but if you know every single issue.
Yeah.
But Alex, Alex has been a tough sell the whole time. He's not really a digital guy. He's an old man living in a digital world.
That's right.
Kind of like the Material Girl. Except he's
I was just going to say, hey, it sounded familiar.
Alex, does anything about this excite you?
I'll admit I'm interested. I was telling Garrett, I think while you're looking at stuff, like seeing Swamp Thing on the screen would be sweet. Seeing this Titans, to see these characters who have never been live action other than Dick Grayson, that is interesting. I don't have as much of that. I want to read old comic books. That's not really my I've read some older things and they don't interest me as much. I know that's a lot of where big stories happened or characters get introduced. That is exciting, but it's not something that's like, man, I gotta spend $100 to read this because I will never actually read them. It will take me forever to get through a TV show. The only thing that actually does interest me, sorry, I'm getting a little loud, is the Batman animated series or the Superman animated series or was Young Justice. I watched a little bit of Young Justice. It'd be fun to actually get to see the whole series. And be like, oh yeah, you know what? That actually is a good
Teen
show.
Titans,
or to see the Teen Titans. Awesome. That's a good. I mean, for me, it's the cartoons. It's like yes, I would watch that one because my daughter could watch it with me.
You could watch Batman Beyond for the first time.
Yeah, I could watch that too. So I mean, for me, it's more of the cartoons.
And if they are remastered, it's gonna look better than ever.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And you can, if it's like really remastered and it's HD, maybe in 4K. Garrett, calm down.
I said 2K.
5.1, maybe 7.1. Calm down.
Ooh.
And it's like.
How does that make you feel?
That might even be worth, like, if it's $10 a month, that might even be worth it because you would have bought that box set. So, like, that might be worth it for you just to watch that. You watch that thing for a month and you're done. $10.
And say if it were cheap enough, like $10, less than 20, it may be worth my time.
It's going to be more than 10. I guarantee you it's going to be more than 10. There's no way they have all that stuff on there and they're like, hey, $10. I mean, it'd be great. I get. We've talked about it on the show before. 15 is a sweet spot for all that. 20 seems like too much. No streaming service is charging 20. 15 is even crazy. Like
I bet they only do it in packages of
$12.99.
like a year or like 3 months. I bet they don't even do a monthly thing.
Nah, there's no way.
You think? You think they'll do monthly?
The jump to like get somebody into it, if you're only going to allow 3 months in a year, is going to be so great. Like say it's $15 to charge somebody $45 up front when they don't know if they're going to like it or not. That's too much.
I suppose.
You need a monthly price. I don't think there's anything
But
really.
Shouldn't it start kind of low to entice people to like sign on and then be like,
well, I think that's the thing is that like you're having Teen Titans come out and be one of the big first things they
Titans.
see. Sorry,
Come
Titans.
on, they're grown up.
Sorry, adult Titans. That's one of those things that's almost scary to jump into. Going, is this show actually going to be worth my time? And I just spent $45 to watch this. Man.
but if you don't like that, at least there'll be other content you can access.
True, but if like depending on when the animated stuff, all the cartoons come onto it, I may not be like, can't wait to get onto this.
They're not trying to get you. They know you're going to grab this thing.
Yeah.
They're trying to get the Alex.
They probably wrote down in their book going, Superman, Garrett will get it.
They're trying
Next
to, that's why it's in that press release. All Superman movies. They're trying to get Alex here. If it was only $45 or $150 for the year, would you even entertain the idea that you would get it?
No.
So like, they needs to be a monthly price to
straight
get
out.
this guy.
That doesn't interest me. You're right. Netflix, I spend over $130 a year to have it. But you know what? It comes out $12.99 or $12 a month. I don't think about it.
Yeah, that's what it is if you make it small enough. There's some streaming services that are like $7, and you're like, oh fuck, $7 is not nothing. But if you think about it like what Alex just said, and it's gonna be something that's $84, then you're like, I don't want to do that for a year. So it is that small price, and they might have a upfront like pay for a whole year and you get a discount, but they do need a monthly price in order to get people like Alex.
I feel like 15 and probably I agree with that. That's probably where they'll start.
I'm gonna
with.
guess $11.99.
I'd say I think they'd almost want to come in cheaper than what Netflix would be when you have all the bells and whistles on Netflix. That way, give people a chance to go, okay, you know what? I don't need to have Netflix this month. I'm going to try this, see if I like it.
I guarantee you, like 3 to 6 months after this, Netflix is going to start putting comics on their streaming service.
They bought.
I know they bought Miller World. So.
But I think it's $11.99 because they're thinking about they're going to make some money back because they have it. So there's that shop on there, and the reason why that shop's on there is because they're going to make back some of the money to make it so that they can sell it for cheaper.
Yep.
I just think they had some sort of meeting. They were like, we can't have this be at 20. They probably started like at $25 a month. They're like, that's way too much. What can we do to reduce that? They said, how about we sell exclusive stuff on there and we can use that money as like a cost. Be like, hey, it's making money too. It's making not only the $11.99. This guy here, Garrett, bought a $50 statue on there. And so now this thing for him, for the one price point, this guy spends $60 a month. And so, like, I think that's the reason why that's on there. Otherwise, what's for? Like, they can just make a shop no matter what. You know what I mean? So if you want to, DCUniverse.com, I think it's that website. Do not quote me on that. Just search for it.
It is.
Okay. You can go on there. You can put in your email address and say, hey, when this is out, let me know. And you could also click a little box saying I want to be a tester, which I did for the sake of this show and for my interest. But also, like, if I get into it that way, we could talk about it more. So DC Universe, I am excited to see. I am curious, not excited, curious to see what happens and if it's going to be good or not.
Well, based on that preview, at least the look of it looks good.
Yeah, I was going to say that what they put together, I'm glad they waited this long because, like I said, I think they said August, right?
Yeah.
It's only 2 months, but they waited to put that out and wait to make sure they were ready and what they knew what they were going to do. They probably were waiting to see if that Young Justice was going to get delayed, and it did. And said, okay, we'll push that back. We'll see. Titans is going to come out first. And Jeff Johns is writing that show. So
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be good.
He's writing Titans?
Yes.
Well, that's cool.
RootsOfTheSwampThing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing. Holland Files number 2 is out, Garrett. How is it?
Holland File 2's was awesome. A lot of cool images that you haven't got to see in Holland Files number 1, so definitely looking forward to finishing this bad boy.
And that's not the only thing. If you want to learn more about Swamp Thing, Alex, where would you go?
You're going to go to rootsoftheswampthing.com.
Make sure to stay in touch at rootsoftheswampthing.com on Twitter at DC World Swampy, Facebook.com/rootsoftheswampthing. Well, let's get into comic books this week. We have some things that ended, some things that broke my heart, and some things that just started. But one thing here we'll talk about that ended. Killer Be Killed, number 20, by Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, and Betty Breweister. So this thing is oversized, right?
Oh, yeah. Way more than the normal 32 pages.
So this issue starts where the last one ended, right away. This guy's, Dylan's dying on the ground. He just got shot. And the detective, he's like, well, I'm dead. This is how this ends. I mean, it's not a flashing ending, but this is life. Sometimes, stuff happens and you die. And then he says, I'm just kidding. I'm still alive. And he goes through this whole thing. And for a second here, I'm going to be like, oh, guess who got this right? I go, guess who got this right? She faked his death. But for a second, so that way they can get the mob. And she's working with him so he can still kill people. And I was like, man, I called this thing. And then cut to another twist I didn't expect. Oh, no, I actually died.
Yeah.
JK.
JK actually died, and then another twist at the end, maybe his former girlfriend was like,
taking over the
maybe
mantle.
I'm going to kill people.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going crazy.
So, I mean, in a rough outline, that's what happened with this episode, the issue. But I think in terms of the plotting of this issue and the way this ended, does this satisfy me in the way the whole series ended? I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We learn, Ed does say, being like, does this narration make sense? Because I'm dead. Who knows? Don't even think about it. There's some sort of meta stuff, and he even says in the letter pages it was kind of meta for a while. And what he thought from issue 1, what he thought this was going to be, did not turn out what it was going to be. But at a certain point, he was like, hey, these things are too interesting to pass up. I'm going to go down this route instead. The art in this issue is great. And it is, I mean, the way it ended here does not make the rest of the series worse. But I mean, this issue was good, but also I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of bittersweet because I'm like, this thing's ending, right? Yeah. I love this book, and this makes the series, I do think this is a great series overall, but also I'm like, God, I want more of this, but is it if there was more of this, I don't know if it would be good. So you know what? So it's kind of bittersweet. In my head, I'm trying to justify being like, oh yeah, it's over. But I want to be selfish to be like, hey, can I get another series of this? And then we might happen.
Well, I think, planting the seeds for Kira eventually taking over, it's kind of like Tokyo Ghost. Eventually, if they do a sequel.
Yeah, he did leave it open.
He leaves it open to be another story, but
right.
Dylan
could still be alive. It'd be a double fake out.
I was satisfied with the ending to an extent, but actually I had preferred the first ending that I thought was going to happen, where this last issue would be more of an epilogue of him going through a couple different little, I took down this rapist, and I took down this dog fight promoter kind of guy. It's like, okay, that would be more exciting for me, seeing these things where the detective really does fake his death. He keeps doing this thing, keeps getting away with it. He goes, I change my outfit every couple weeks or every month or so just to make sure that no one's catching on to what I'm doing. I was like, yes, that's exciting for me. Because, he goes through a couple surgeries, gets fixed up after he's been shot, and then to find out, oh yeah, I'm dead. Really never was a demon type of thing. And my girlfriend's also going kind of crazy, so there's something in the water in New York. It was good, but it wasn't what I had hoped. So, but I'm kind of like it wrapped up
in like a euphemism, if he's the killer, that's one ending, But if he's the killed, that's the other ending. I
guess it lives up to the name, kill or be killed. So you just kind of see, oh, well, I've done both things.
There's one reality where he's the killer, and there's one where he's being killed.
No.
So, but I don't know. I do like that middle ending. I think that's what he wanted, though. He like everyone's like, oh, this is like if everything worked out perfectly, and then it's like, nah, this is real life, though. This what would actually.
Yeah, happen. I think he's commenting and being like, hey, if this story was actually gonna be like, if I wanted to actually write like this story and have a written ending where that feels written, he lives, everything's okay, he's still out there killing people, and it's a nice happy ending to be like, yeah, this guy's a hero, like, and the hero gets the hero's ending. But he's like, that's not life. He's gonna bleed out, he's gonna die, and they're gonna forget about him. They never mentioned who he was, because she said, hey, he saved my life, I'm not gonna open that can of worms, his mom's been through enough. But then also Kira is damaged, and like nobody has a really happy ending, and that's how it ends. Like Alex said too, like I do like this ending, I do like this whole story and stuff like that. But there is a part of me being, and I think it's because I liked at a certain point you start rooting for this Dylan character. That so when he actually just dies and you don't have him anymore, you kind of feel like I said, like he was the hero, and you're like, oh the hero died, and the reality hits you, and it's just like life, and you're like, I'm not sure if I like that. But I mean, is the issue good? I think the issue is good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the issue, and the art looked great. The art and coloring, like usual, is great.
I find it funny that he's like, in the letter pages, he said when he first started out, he wanted to make it like basically like Spider-Man. And then at a certain point, he was like, I'm going to make it my own thing. But he still kept putting in Easter eggs for Spider-Man because he's like, people will probably like this when they go back and look at it. But It didn't really become like Spider-Man anymore. It became more like we said, like about Punisher and like about like what does it really mean to be a hero and all this kind of stuff. But
that outfit at the end was pretty badass and pretty close.
That
to
was kind of Spider-Man-ish.
Yeah.
And like this cover is definitely an homage to Spider-Man.
All I need is the trash can where he's throwing his suit away.
That's where the image symbol is. Duh.
I really liked this issue, and I thought it was a 10. It's good.
I actually give it an 8. Like I thought it was a decent. It wasn't my favorite issue of the series by any means. It was a really good conclusion. It does have me wanting more, but it didn't like blow my mind. I think.
Like this page?
Nah, it looks great. But compared to everything else that we've been given in the series, I didn't think this was the best issue. And there's been some 10s, there's been some 9s. This one was like, it wasn't everything I expected it to be.
I would agree. I'd give it an 8. Where had it carried on to the first half where he does survive and he's doing his thing, then for me it would have ended up being a 10. But that last little twist and be like, oh, there's other things that can happen. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I expected. You're right. That's not real life that the hero always wins. I understand. Getting shot in the chest, you don't just come out of that. But that's also not what I was expecting for my hero.
I like how this guy over here is super logical, and then this guy gets shot, and he's like, I wanted him to live, though. Like that, he got point blank shot in the chest.
Hey,
make him
you
come
guys,
back to life.
Every week you guys want me to lighten up. I actually
it was
lightened
snowing
up.
hard. Maybe he missed an artery.
He got some ice in there. It froze some stuff. He's fine.
What else do we get, Alex?
We got some stuff. We got some other books. Sentry #1, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Kim. Is that Jacinto? I'm going to say Jacinto. Or Jacinta.
Or Jacinto.
It's from Kim. Garrett and I were talking before the show. This is like a weird open for me.
Yeah.
I liked it to an extent, but I was not expecting to have this. So Sentry is fighting. He's fighting the Void, isn't he? So he's fighting these Void shadow monsters, and then some other character shows up named Scout, and then there's Centrus, and then there's this corgi dog who looked like the one from Astro City almost. And he goes, okay, guys, we beat the shit out of these shadow monsters. We got to go home. So he comes back, and it's, was it Bob Reynolds?
Yes, Bob.
So Bob is there meditating in front of this clock-like thing. He goes, well, I got to go to work. He goes to this diner, and he's talking to the guy who's supposed to be Scout. And he's like, hey, bro, I'm going to flip some pancakes. I went to that clock realm again. I beat some shadow dudes up. Everything's cool. No, bro, I want to go. There was something unexciting and not enough gritting that I wanted.
There was one concept in there that I thought was really cool, is that Bob Reynolds, or the Sentry, has to go to that alternate reality to once
decompress,
once a day, to make sure that he doesn't, the Void doesn't get loose and kill everybody. But other than that, I don't know. I feel like, from a new reader standpoint, it's a little much to come in. I was you're throwing all these concepts at me, not even knowing who this character is, or even a shadow of who this character is. I think it was just, again, new reader standpoint, because I don't know anything about Sentry. I thought it was very cold opening, and I know he's the Sentry, but I don't know if these other characters are real characters or if they're fake characters. I don't know anything about him, and I still feel like I know diddly
What do you mean?
shit.
What characters?
The Sentress and
Scout and the dog.
They talk about it.
I know he uses these people as personifications in the alternate reality.
I thought they were actually characters.
Yeah, they're actually
I thought
characters.
they were Scouts actually.
yeah, I
Virtual
know.
reality.
Okay.
I know, but I mean, they don't know that they're part. It's his imagination. They're not going to the reality like he is. They're a different version in that reality.
Yeah, he's
Doctor Strange built an alternate universe where they're real people so that they can live in that universe and be contained.
Right, but not these ones. When he comes back to the real world,
Billy-
Oh, there is a scout there, yeah.
I get that.
There's Billy at the diner that Bob works at, and then there's Scout inside the Void realm.
but they're not the same.
But they're not the same guy
No.
coming together.
Right,
No.
right,
Okay.
exactly.
So I come to this knowing I've read a lot of stuff with Sentry in it, but not really like Sentry books, right? He was in Dark Avengers. He was in Bendis stuff for a long time. And then one day he died. Sentry Fallen Sun. Adios. And I never really liked him, so I really didn't really get to know him. So a lot of that stuff, like the Scout and the Sentress and all that stuff, I really don't know about. Actually, a lot of it I really don't know about. I just know about him. And so, like a lot of this, like you're saying, somebody becoming brand new, a lot of this also is brand new to me. And, I really liked it. I don't know what it was. I think it's a story of, like, Jeff Lemire. I figured that he got this book and was
Wait,
like...
you did like it?
I did.
Did, okay.
So I figured that he got this book and was like, what can I do? I could tell a story about Sentry where he's a super-powered guy. He's basically Superman. And he has his Void inside of him, and he's, there's a conflict of him trying to fight the Void. He could do that. And then he was like, but let's say, that he goes, like, to his universe. He has, like, a rehab, basically, where I keep it contained. And then it's just about Sentry, it's kind of almost like Nick Wilson in a way, that book we just finished, where it's like he used to be a hero and now he's just trying to get through life, and it's about it. And like Scout and with the real life Scout's like, dude, you get to go somewhere and live a fantasy, and I have to sit here and flip burgers all day.
Yeah.
And like you actually get to go out there. He goes, but I have to, or otherwise the Void's gonna get out. So those kind of concepts and that stuff actually really does interest me. And actually, I thought that was, kind of cool. The Misty Knight stuff, I could live.
She didn't need to be in this book.
I was like, get out of here.
That took me out of the issue when she just immediately shows up. Don't you need to be doing something? I got sent in by the big chief going, hey, bro, you need to be doing this stuff.
I didn't like that because they connected it more to Marvel Universe, and I'd like this to be its own thing.
Yeah.
But the art I really liked, and it's not enough for me to be like, this is like amazing. It's not enough. I just was like, oh, I enjoyed it. Maybe it's because, like, going into this, if you listen to the forecast, I was like, I hate this guy. I don't know if I'm going to like this. Yeah. And I was really surprised on Jeff Lemire's take. It was, the Jeff Lemire thing to do, to be like, well, what if he was just like a normal dude and he can't be?
And say he's grounded.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was an 8 for me. It was like solid, but like other than that, like, I mean, I wouldn't be like, hey, you have to read the Sentry like we were with Immortal Hulk, #1. But the Sentry, if you were like, hey, I'm kind of into that, think I should read that? But yeah, cool, read it. It's fine.
I would agree, an 8. And actually, I will give issue 2 a try because I'm still kind of blind buying it. I like Jeff Lemire a lot, and actually, just talking to you, Marvin, it's like, you know what? You do bring up more valid points. I was expecting it to be that kind of bigger superhero book where it's actually more of a grounded, kind of like what we get from Vision, where there's other things going on than just this guy being a hero.
Out of all the Jeff Lemire books that he's writing currently, it is probably my least favorite out of all of them, but I still thought it was good.
I give it a 7, and I won't be getting issue 2.
Until we tell you that it's good, you're like, fuck, I gotta get that book.
I don't think so.
I do.
Anything else?
Nope, you're good.
All right. Next, we got Terrifics #5 with art by Doc Shanner, and it's written by Jeff Lemire. When they put things backwards, it confuses me.
I know. I thought Jeff Lemire was on this book. Oh, wait, he is on this book.
But it's Element World, Part 1. We get the Fantastic Four. Oops, sorry. I mean the Terrifics. They're basically doing their own thing each in this issue, and then a threat pulls them all together, and that threat is the some city is being infected by.
I thought Chicago for some reason.
Could be. Everything in whatever city, I'm just see it here, is. I can't really say.
For some reason, I was
Michigan. Belmont, Michigan.
Okay.
But anyways, everything is turning into metamorpho. Come to find out that there's a ancient metamorpho. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of like concepts in here and characters I don't really know about. But there's this Algon. He's mutating people into metamorphos because he wants everyone to be like that, I suppose. I don't really know his game plan. What I do like about this book, though, is the team. I think the team aspect is the best part of this. Like, love me some Plastic Man. Like, I think that Jeff Lemire gives like that great comedic take on this character. I never feel like his comedy's forced. Like, and every time I like read something that he's like telling a joke, I do laugh.
Oh, I actually kind of disagree. I think it is forced, but I think that's his character. It forces things to be stupid funny. Like I watch his goggles and they change shape when he does things. Like even just if he's still a person, like looks like himself, his goggles will kind of make a sad face, or they'll make a little bit more of an up face, like he's almost smiling. Because there's one part here where he's got a sad face, and his goggles even make a sad look to it. And when you see him be a hot air balloon, I was like, dude, that's so stupid. And yet I really enjoyed it. When you got him talking to a brick wall metamorpho, it's like, you know what, that's ridiculous, and I enjoyed it.
I don't get why Metamorpho is a brick wall.
He's trying to keep the metamorphos in.
Oh, I see.
He was doing containment, and Plastic Man is trying to get people out.
Metamorpho Dog was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about dogs.
Story.
I had only read one. So when we put number 5 on the list, I was like, got to catch up. Got to read 4 issues in a row. And I read them, and I thought the first 2 were like 8 solids, but they were good. And like around 3, I thought this thing really picked up. And 3, 4, and 5, I really do love this thing.
It's fun. It's a fun read. It's a good team.
But the thing is with this book, and I was like reading it being like, what do I like about this? It is basically Fantastic Four. Metamorpho fights with Plastic Man, just like how Thing fights with Johnny. And Mr. Terrific is so into his work, just like how Mr. Fantastic is. And but it's just a fun, like Silver Age kind of book. Doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a lot of comedy, like Alex was saying. Plastic Man is hilarious. And it really is a book that I read, and plus when it gets to issue 4 and 5, Doc was on it. Doc's great, perfect for this book. The old classic, clean style, and the colors are great. Who did the colors in that book?
I literally just
it reminds me of like an older comic that just it's not really too heavy, and I can read it. And
Nathan Fairbairn.
Oh yeah, Nathan. Okay, and you know what? I just had fun with it. And I thought actually, but then again, like I love Fantastic Four, and Plastic Man is a great character. I like Plastic Man a lot.
Sorry, I just saw the panel where Plastic Man's goggles even made a sad face, and it made me laugh.
Like, it's just it's funny. It's light. It's not too serious, and like even when they go like in I think it's 3rd issue, like this kind of drone starts attacking them, so they break the drone, and then that one rich guy comes out with the his butler.
Oh, the death wheel.
Yeah, and there's a ongoing joke where every time something happens, he's like, hey, clean this up. He just walks inside. And it's just, I don't know. There's something about it that just like, it reminds me a lot of, like I said, Silver Age, but also like the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and especially Doc's style, where it's kind of like Johnny Quest and kind of like really light and not really, I mean, it's fun and it doesn't take itself too seriously. So I actually really enjoyed catching up on this book. I thought it was good. At first I was like, I know it's Jeff Lemire, but at first I was like, when I'm 4 issues behind, and that's not a lot. Like I'm way behind him, more books. But when I saw I was 4 behind, I was like, geez, I got to read 4 of these books in a row. And when I got to this issue, I was like, oh, I wish I was more I could read. But yeah. I really liked it. It was a strong 9 for me.
I give it a 9.
I'm sitting at an 8. I felt like this one, again, it's a part 1 of an arc. So
the last one's really good.
last issue
one would have been 10
4
for me.
4 was great. This is obviously the beginning of an arc. Plenty of story to be told. So 8 for me.
Well, the last one was Phantom Girl had a diary, right?
Yeah.
That was a great issue. It was like a one shot where it was like she finally could hold tangible items, and
They go back to her planet.
yes, it was a great issue, and I really liked that issue a lot. And I think it was that issue for me that was like, I mean, I've been talking about that it's fun, but also like they had that hurtful moment where she realized her dad died and she lost time. Kind of like Jeff told a similar story in Dr. Star recently, and that issue was like, wow, he can actually do that kind of stuff in this book too, and it actually made me feel like bad for her. Not bad, sad.
But I mean, you're sympathetic to what she's gone through, and again, it lives up to the Jeff Lemire way of telling a story. He actually does kind of tug at those heartstrings. So
I was surprised that Jeff Lemire's comedy, because like I don't think really in his other books he really is that comedic. If I think about it, really. And so Metamorpho and Plastic Man, when they fight, I actually do like laugh at this book a lot. And like what Alex is saying, like just
I think the subtle comedy, I don't know, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just his character, but Jeff Lemire and Doc Shanner like get it.
yeah,
They get at least Plastic Man for me.
So the one thing for me is that I know that the plan was to have rotating artists and stuff, but eventually, like this book, I think this looks amazing. And like I said, it's more of that simplistic style, and that's what I like about it. It's not so Rockefeller's great, but this is one of those books that you've got that nice style, and that's what I want to see. Is just simple
yeah.
book.
I'm with you on that. When Doc came on board, I was like, this is how the book should be. This is how it should
this
look.
should be the team.
Saga number 53. This is Fano Staples and Brian K. Vaughan. This is very hard.
This was a tough issue to read.
So in the last issue, the Will caught up to our heroes and had Prince Robot the Fourth, right?
Yes.
And stand still, and they was like, "Hey, you killed somebody who I used to love, and now I'm gonna kill you." And so he's trying to get out of it. He's saying, "Hey, I'll give up the family for you that you're out here for," and he's like, "It's too late for that." And Marco shows up and he says, "What did you say?" And so now he's holding Prince Robot in kind of like a headlock hostage while Marco is trying to save him. And Prince Robot's like, "Just leave, dude. Didn't you just hear I was trying to give you up?" And he's like, "No, he's trying to save him still." And at the end, the Will snaps his head off. And when we say snap, we mean fully.
He pretty much fatality'd him, ripped his head straight off, and blood's oozing
blood
out
all
of his
over the
neck.
place. That guy's not coming back.
Nope.
And if he does, he's not going to be the same.
Well, and he's the second character we've lost in the last 2 issues. Because
Yeah, oh yeah. And
Dolph
also,
gets
got
Dolph
killed.
gets shot by our stupid mole woman.
And for a while, I thought he got shot by her. He's going to be okay. He's going to hold the blood in.
Nope.
And nope. He's getting his heart eaten out by a bunch of
the
birds.
seagull things are eating his insides. It's like, okay, well, he's dead.
So we're at a point now where, I think 50 and 51 were kind of like, man, these guys are really going to get out of this. They have a nice little family now, Prince Robot and his kid, and he met somebody that he can get along with. And they're going to like leave and be this new identity. They're going to witness protection. We're in a good spot. And like you said, back-to-back deaths, 2 people died, 2 relationships broken, and the mole has a bunch of people hostage now. And it's like, I mean, that's his book, right?
Well, so I'm going to spoil parts of it. Like, Alana gets shot in the wing, so now one of her wings just kind of shatters.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
She falls to the ground. I don't remember. Is it Upshur? Is the other
Yeah.
the boyfriend to Dolph? And he loses his shit. And just does he do magic? Because we know Hazel can do magic, and I think Upshur's teaching her some magic tricks.
I thought so, yeah.
Because he makes like this little ball of power, shoots it at the mole woman's face, melts half her face, and now she looks like Two-Face. And
then she goes, "I fucking dare you, kill me. Kill me. Kill me." And he's just staring at her on the ground. And I was just like,
I wanted it to be that. I realized there won't be a gun that goes, pfft, but that's what I wanted it to be. Is where he just takes the opportunity, doesn't even waste time, and kills her.
Also, I forgot to mention, before he killed Prince Robot, Marco did say, "Hey, I'll come in with you, and you can arrest me and bring me in for your bounty. Just let him go." And then the Will just says, "Pass," and then snaps his neck off.
You know what? That was the Star-Lord from Infinity War. He goes, no, this jackass killed my girl.
Yeah.
He has to die.
So much emotion. Everything's running hot. And this issue is this thing we were talking about for the last year. Good, more than that, probably. What was it, 39, 38? Yeah. This thing is hot. It is great. Every issue. I cannot get enough of this. And Fiona Staples, every issue looks great, fantastic. The panel work is great. Like when she's like, fucking kill me, I dare you. And she's like, kill me. And it kind of like backs out. Like the pacing of those shots. And like Brian K. Vaughan, this is his strongest book that's coming out now. He can do stuff like Barry and stuff like that. But like this is the cream of the crop of those two. And it's fantastic.
Yeah. The title for the book is literally the perfect title. It is a saga.
You would think that at this point, when all this stuff is happening, that we must be getting near the end. All this stuff is happening. Brian K. Vaughan in an interview recently said that because issue 50 came out, for issue 50 did an interview. He said issue 50 is not even the halfway point. So it's going to go on for a little bit. Which
I'm more than happy to keep reading this book.
This book could be 150 issues if that's what they planned, and I'm cool with it.
Oh, I would love to be part of that, living to see this book to be 150 issues long. Oof. God, I love this book.
What do you mean? You plan to pass away here soon? It was a 10. This was a great issue.
Yes.
You know, I read this issue, and I wanted to text everybody I knew that had any interest in comics, even if they like just read a graphic novel a month, a quarter, a year, and be like, you should catch up on Saga.
The way that Walking Dead characters, they can show up for a couple issues and then maybe die off. This is one of those books that you get to know these characters. You get to see how their lives have been. There's a reference from the dumb mole lady to the Will, I think 2 issues ago, where she killed his dog.
Yeah.
I thought, man, I would have stabbed you right then and there and been done with this.
Oh, I forgot to mention the best part of the last 2 issues is that at first when Squire runs away and they're going to go find him in the woods and whatever, Gus gets strapped up to go out and find them with all these fucking guns and a fucking like machete and all stuff. He goes, all right. Gus would raided the no closet. And he comes out of like this fucking guy. It proves every single time I see his ass why he's my favorite.
Yes.
Gus.
Gus is the best.
I need a Gus doll. That's what I need. They sell it.
We'll get you a baby seal.
We'll give you a baby seal.
I would agree this issue is a 10.
God, it's so good.
Venom, number 3. By Donny Cates and art by Ryan Stegman. I actually caught up on issue 2 a couple days ago. Was great.
Yep.
Read issue 3 for the show. Also great.
What Donny Cates has done to the Venom mythos in 3 issues is fucking fantastic.
You know, when I was reading this issue, I caught up on 2 and 3 recently too, today. And when I was reading them, I thought the same thing. I was like, nobody ever expects, and he's done this with multiple things. He comes in and says, this dude used to be in space. So Brian Michael Bendis tried to do that when he was part of the Guardians, right? Try to figure that out. And I don't know, it seemed hokey to me. It seemed like, he just wanted some reason for him to go off the Guardians, stuff like that. So Donny Cates does it. And when Donny Cates does it in this issue where he's like, they're from space, they're part of this
symbiote god.
Like this old kind of god, some creature from the space. In the second issue, they had that 2-page spread where like it explained their history and stuff like that when that one guy first got him. And he said he saw a flash of all this stuff. All that stuff, I was like, there's no way, at least for the immediate future, that anything with Donny Cates' name on it, I'm not like, that guy is creative. That guy knows how to take something that seems old and seems like dated. And like, but as I said, you can go back and listen to this show when I was like, I like Donny Cates, but I'm going to get Venom. I have no interest in Venom. And then for like 3 issues now, like you said, reinventing this character in a way that I'm like, this character is interesting to me now.
Right, and he gives you enough for all the people that like Venom, but it gives you so much more in the fact that you're finding out his roots. You're always like, what's the limit of how evil Venom can get? And then you see him go Mecha Venom, but like Mega Venom, where he's like freaking red and like bloodthirsty and.
But I think that's maybe the thing for me is that when we had read the first Venom by, I think it was it Cullen Bunn who was doing that? No, it was Rick Remender. And Flash is always like, well, I can't let him go too far, and sometimes he does go too far, and he just turns into regular Venom and bites someone's head off. This is that step even further where he's an animal. and there's nothing that's going to stop him from killing you. And Eddie Brock has no control at this point. He can't even talk to Venom going, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to kill this person. And you're lucky if you get out of there alive without blowing yourself up.
Well, you know, a big part of the Venom mythos and why he looks like Spider-Man is because it's kind of like Godric Gryffindor's sword in Harry Potter. You know, it absorbs what makes it stronger. So it took on the Spider-Man persona. And what's the god's name? I can't remember.
Cole or something like that? Kroll?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I love the fact, in this issue, he holds the symbiote that Eddie uses, and he, like, purges him. He's like, we basically need to get you back to formula. Yeah. And, like, you see it, like, burning out of him and then turns to red. I know. And that's, like, that's awesome. Like, I mean, that's, you know, character development. Eddie's like, well, any relationship I formed over with this symbiote is gone. And if they try to bring it back, I mean, if Donnie tries to do that, I'm like, come on, you purge this thing. We saw the flames. Like, he's Berserker Venom now. That at least the symbiote is. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to see Eddie stripped down. He doesn't have a suit. Now, how is his psychology going to be able to handle doing this naked,
solo?
basically?
Let's say he's always had a friend or a thing inside him. How do you talk to someone who isn't there? And something that can't respond back to you now? I liked Spider-Man in this issue.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't just like this weenie little kid going, don't punch me so hard. It's like, I will kill you myself.
Well, and I totally forgot in Ultimate Spider-Man that Venom killed his mother technically in a different universe. She came back. Sorry, spoilers, but we've had a couple of years.
What was that from Ultimate before it got moved to the Prime universe?
Right. Okay. Yep. She got murdered by Venom.
Okay.
So you can see why he's so like upset by the Venom character even being around.
Because that was the one thing that I was like, I don't remember that happening, but it was before I read Ultimate Spider-Man.
Right. I do love that dragon. And so is the god the dragon, or does he use the dragon?
He's controlling him.
He's controlling him.
I can't find out what his name is.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Miles Morales a lot. Like you said, he was in this book. He should take Venom seriously. And I like that Donny Cates wasn't like, well, he's a guy that does little quippy stuff. I'm running Spider-Man. I'm going to do little quippy one-lines. It's like, no, when he met Venom, he means business, and he's not going to be like that. He was 100% serious, which he should be.
Well, and doesn't he blew Eddie out of the suit by just...
Oh, yeah.
Was that his
Venom
sting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Stegman's art's great in this issue. And I also did like... So, I like that they mentioned, like, he's like, dude, where's the Avengers at? And Miles was like, hey, if you didn't know, Celestials are falling out of the sky. And just to be like, yeah, that's why they're not here fighting this dragon that's attacking New York City. Like, it's up to us, too. It's a way to, like, hey, this connects to Marvel. Because that's at the beginning of the Marvel Universe, that was a big thing, was connected yet separate. That's enough to show me, hey, this is going on at the same time as that story. But I don't need them to show up and be like, hey, guys, I can't be there. Like, Miles is just like, hey, dude, they're off doing something else. He's like, all right, that's enough.
Right.
And it's enough for me to feel like this is a whole world. And these two are the only ones that can save this city in this world. So,
which is terrifying, by the way. Like, even the Celestials falling from the sky, not nearly as scary as this big fucking dragon coming through town destroying shit.
That, yeah, the symbiote, and you're like, man, the Avengers should probably fight this guy. And maybe, get somebody else to fight those Celestials, because this guy looks crazy.
Well, yeah, and that god, like, what a intro to create a new supervillain. Like, saying our next book we're going to talk about introducing a villain. This book takes the cake. That guy scares the piss out of me. Like, he came out of that dragon, and I was like, yeah, you don't want to fuck with him.
What a way to be introduced. You're literally controlling the dragon from the inside. Spider-Man blows the shit out of your dragon, and you're still holding Spider-Man going, I won, bitch.
Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, look at this kid. Throw him on the side.
And I was expecting to, like, kill Spider-Man there. Like, all right.
Now, I tell you what, that would be the biggest surprise in the book. Is just
That'd be kind of big fuck you to Bendis, but...
I really did enjoy it. It at some point in this run, I keep expecting to be like, oh yeah, that's why I don't read this book, because Venom's not for me. But like, it keeps going, it keeps being good.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things that's kind of like a Tom King book for me, where you get this character, Mr. Miracle, I could have given two shits about, and Tom King knows how to write a book that isn't just about Mr. Miracle, it's about... Okay, Venom's not really about real life things, but it expands upon what you already know and makes you go, wow, look how expansive this universe is. Look what other Venoms are out there. It's not just Anti-Venom or Toxin or Carnage or douche canoe or whatever other names they have for these characters. It's literally, here's the symbiote. They're all part of this big thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it
in
that
a way,
way.
it's making some commentary also when the military were using it as like weapons,
Right.
And like giving it to people, being like, well, you're gonna die or you're gonna get the Venom symbiote, well, either one. So they put it on people, like experimenting on people for the sake of having these living weapons. And
That concept alone, I want to see in like a freaking movie or like
I do want
a
to
TV
see like a
show.
comic back in the day, like
Yeah.
Vietnam, and there were symbiote soldiers running
That'd be
around.
so
Was it in
cool.
Vietnam or Fury was
that or-
there.
Korean War.
In the last issue, he just talked about the war.
So maybe it's Korea. I know it looks like that it's somewhere in
Yeah.
Asia, Southeast Asia. So,
Right.
because there's a lot of jungle stuff. I mean, it might even be South America.
That's cool. Like I just throw
during a coup
some
or
goo
something.
on your face, and now you're like a symbiote. So,
But it-
damn that stupid Fox! Screw Fox for calling that thing symbiote.
Well,
Sorry,
yeah,
that's my rant on that.
Yeah, but because
I've been
not-
trying to avoid it all night, and I just said it. Pissed.
no,
But
symbiote.
like Alex was saying, like that's the real life thing in here is like saying like, was this worth it for them? And now you basically have all these, symbiotes going out there. Is that the right way?
Symbiote.
Yes, I know. Fuck
Okay.
you, Fox.
It going out there and like, what did you unleash? And like, was that okay to play God in that way? And now here's God's back to take back his creations.
It's like you had your fun. It's my turn.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say for Donny Cates is that like next week I think the Cosmic Ghost Rider comes out.
Yeah.
If nothing else, he makes these characters and then he carries on these characters, not just let them go on the wayside. It's like, okay, maybe we really will get like a 6-issue run of the Vietnam or Korean or whatever soldiers doing their thing, because that would be
I buy it.
I would buy that book instantly. That sounds like a great premise to see these other characters before you get Eddie Brock in the Venom suit doing their thing, being the quote unquote super soldiers. I mean, they would be the Task Force B or X or Quadruple Z.
It was good. Solid 9.
See, for
I'm gonna
me,
give this
10,
one a 10.
10 fucking blew my mind.
I think just the introduction of the evil overlord was enough to make me go, wow. 1, Donny Cates, you know how to write a good book. 2, you know how to introduce a new villain and make me about shit my pants going, holy crap.
And you're making like Venom interesting. You're giving him something to hold on to more than like, oh, Eddie has a relationship
kill
with
Spider-Man.
a symbiote. God damn it.
Symbiote.
I know.
What else we got?
Next, we got Man of Steel #5, written by Brian Michael Bendis with, I don't know who the artist is.
Fabok did a couple pages.
Fabok
Hughes
does all
did a
the
couple
flashback.
pages. Somebody
Sorry.
did a couple pages.
I thought you were going to look it up.
What? I was going to try and do it off the top of my head. Last time I said it was just
Yeah,
Brian
because you
Michael
only had one
Bendis.
person.
Check.
So I liked this book. It was really good. This book, actually, I didn't care for this issue nearly as
Dude,
much.
this fucking issue is a fucking shorter.
They keep
It wasn't that good.
they keep talking about the same thing of the Jor-El. Okay, get past the that boy, this boy,
Adam
me
Hughes
boy.
art.
Adam Hughes. So the whole Jor-El concept still
Dude, didn't
bores
he-
me to death.
Dude, didn't he just like threaten those guys in that storyline? What was
Right.
that storyline?
I can't remember. What
Didn't he
it's
tell
called.
John like you're half human? That means you're weak because you're half a human, and like
He even said that in this issue though.
he
He's
threatened to destroy that whole
Yeah.
fucking planet.
But now this is that you're half Kryptonian.
And
that means
now-
you're amazing.
And now he comes back, and the only issue Lois has with him going away with him is, oh, we don't know him. He's kind of a stranger. It's like, dude, that dude fucking threatened to kill everybody, and he said, screw your half-breed son.
yeah.
And now he's like, yeah, but he is his grandpa. Like, what are we gonna say?
I just want it
That-
to be where
they
Superman
had-
doesn't even take the time to ask questions, just flies through the building with him and just
It's
starts
like,
beating the shit out of him.
Did Bendis read that storyline? Did he
I know.
go back? And
I
be
don't
like,
think he knows
hey,
a
let me-
fucking clue about Jonathan Kent.
He
He would never say.
He knew he was back, and he was like, okay, well, I'll put him in my story too. But he didn't take the time to go, oh, okay, let
He's
me
a
go back and
dick.
figure out who this guy was, yeah, or who he is now. So like that whole part of the story, especially this fucking lead up to this last issue, he's like coming out of the shadows, and like every issue, it's like 1 second more of that
Right.
scene. And I was finally like, dude, just fucking do it or don't do it. I'm
And what's the
tired
point of
it.
Jor-El coming in on like a beetle ship? Like that thing looks stupid.
This is the cheapest one I can find.
It's just so you didn't know it was him. That's
I know.
it. There's no logical
'Cause I-
reason for any of that to be happy. Like that's the reason why they're not there. He went on a fucking field trip with his dad or his grandpa, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well then Lois went with him just because she didn't want him to be the stranger.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't go. He's a stranger.
She's probably a stowaway on the ship. No one knows she's there.
Let alone the dude is fucking a genocidal maniac, and he's like, oh, he's about to kill everybody, and like he fucking kidnapped Tim, and all these people, and it's like, nah, you just don't know him though, so that's why you're gonna go with him.
I know, and it's like the fact that like Clark's not really questionable. Lois is like, oh, he's got a plan. I'm like, no, shut the fuck up.
Clark was talking to him like his grandpa maybe came over for Thanksgiving and said something he shouldn't say at the table. And he's like, ooh, fuck, this guy's back again. Like, hey, Dad, you got to keep it calm down here. Like, this is my son in front of him. It wasn't like that his dad came over and said, hey, I'm going to fucking kill you all. Your son's a half-breed. Like, he should have, like, beat the shit out of him right then and there.
Yeah.
But no, he acted like Jor-El was showing up and he was like, ooh, Dad, like, not right now.
Bad timing.
Timing. Like, and who the fuck is this John that's like, no, I'm going to go with him? Like,
yeah, never.
In all these books, he's been a family. Like, he loves his family.
He's a son.
He loves his dad. He listens to his dad and mom. And in this issue, he's like, nah, I got to go with him. I don't know
He's
what
like, I got to go to space. I'm like, dude, you've been in space. Like,
dude, this is my
50 million
grandpa.
times.
Papa Jor-El?
Yeah, I got to go with him. He's my grandpa, man. And it's like, dude, like his dad's like, no, you can't go. Mom can no. Well, screw you guys. I got to go.
What's the point of Bendis taking over and canceling Tomasi and Gleason's run to maintain the status quo that they were setting up in that story, but they're just changing the characters' motivations?
Now, he did, and this might be a little spoiler or something. You tell me if you want to hear about it or not. Bendis did post something on Instagram about the next issue about John. Do you want to know?
Yeah.
Spoilers for anybody. Go ahead, 10 seconds. He comes back and he's older.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess you're right. You showed us that thing.
So, he posted an actual panel from the next issue. He's coming back and he's older.
I bet you the cliffhanger's like, Dad?
So that's why that one
Dylan.
That's why that one miniseries is taking place before, because from this point on, he's not going to be that young anymore. He's going to be like a teenager.
So I just want to, when he first said he's going to change something about the mythos, like the most recent mythos edition, like he has changed nothing about his past.
He's saying that this guy destroyed Krypton now.
Yeah, I suppose.
And
that's always been
he
kind of a
destroyed
mystery.
Kandor. Right? Here's the thing. The first issue, I was like, hey, it's all right. Yeah, it's pretty. It's like, I think he understands the Superman character. The second issue was like, nothing. I don't know what the hell happened to that issue. Nothing.
Nothing happened.
Dude,
nothing. Not a
it
fucking
was so
thing.
boring. And the third issue actually wasn't bad. I think the fourth issue was like, okay, whatever. But this issue, like, it's shaky already for me.
Right.
And then this issue takes such a fucking dive.
Yeah.
These people aren't who I know them to be, and I barely know these people.
Yeah.
And, I know enough not to make Jor-El like that character.
I think they were being really ambiguous that Rogolzar could just like rocks cover you on the moon.
Dude, what
Like,
was with
what?
that?
I would say the way that this fight went down, it was like Doomsday came and beat the piss out of him.
That's what I thought he was getting at the end of the issue. Like, oh, cleansing? And then he's like, oh, I'll go to the core of the earth. Like, yeah, please. I thought he was going to get Doomsday. Like, hey, bud.
Hey, let's go kick some ass.
Doomsday smash,
A couple
kind of thing.
issues ago, there was a weird little scene where Clark goes back to the Fortress of Solitude, and he's there. What's his name?
Rogolzar. That part was pretty cool.
He's
I
there.
thought.
No, but here's the thing that's weird about it. So there's like a good 5 or 6 panels where they just sit there and talk to each other. I was like, dude, this guy wants to kill him. And they're just sitting there chilling, talking because Bendis was like, let's have a little dialogue scene here. And then they fight. But it's like...
And plus, all of that we've seen Rogolzar besides the past scenes is him like muttering.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's been... Like, he met Clark and he started fighting him. And he didn't let him... Because remember, Clark even says, this guy hasn't uttered a word. Like, all he wants to do is fight and kill me. And then, but then the next scene, he wants to have a fucking dialogue. Like, be like, let's talk to each other.
I thought that was pretty cool, though. I can't deny.
Yeah.
That was pretty scary.
To an extent, that's cool to have your big bad guy decide he wants to have a conversation. But also, if your whole incentive is to kill somebody, you don't stop and go, by the way, this is why I'm kicking the shit out of you. And I'll wait until your homies show up, and then I'm going to take you to the moon. That bugged the crap out of me. JL, or the Justice League, shows up. Well, they're up there doing stuff.
I like the art in this issue. That was it.
Art was good.
Art was fine.
Do you guys remember when Mxyzptlk merged all the Supermen together? So, like, I mean, the New 52 version and like his whole history. That Supergirl, like, trying to be from the New 52 bullshit. So sick of that. I know they're going to redo her costume and everything. But me seeing that little Z Superman S, like, they're like, oh, yeah, they're technically cousins, but there's, I mean, I'm like, why don't you just change that shit?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have, I don't know. That's just being nitpicky. But this series is not, I don't think anything groundbreaking is going to happen except that cliffhanger that his son's going to be like, Dad? And then Clark's going to, or Superman's going to be like, John? Yeah, son?
Well,
Human?
Remember he said that something happens at Venom Man of Steel that people are going to get mad at him about. And so we know, once again, spoilers, past a little bit, we know that it's John getting older. So
I can tell you what, unless issue 6 really just blows me out of the water because of great storytelling and art, I will not be getting Action Comics to Superman.
Spoilers for issue number 6. I do think also that that decision to make him older is not needed because we haven't seen him as a kid long enough to be to know who he is. And I think it solely is just to be like, let me change something and let me do something to be like shock people.
Yeah, now they're going to make, I guarantee you there's going to be another issue in the future where Damian and him are going to team up and he's going to be like,
You're tall.
you're older now. Like, this is going to be stupid. Like, that's so dumb. Now, you know, that whole the Super Sons arc takes place before because, yeah, he's going to be older and they're not.
That 12 issue maxi thing?
Yeah.
Was a 6 for me this issue.
Yeah, this would be a 6. Heck, I'm going to give it a 5 just because I really could have given
I'll
two
give it a
shits.
5.
Those covers, the timeline covers, is sweet because I can tell at least they're not changing the fucking history of Superman besides some minor things that you could copy and paste the stuff in anyways. I mean, there's gaps there where you could fill in some space, but they're not changing anything like the death of Superman or anything like that.
I would like to have seen, and Superman would be stupid for doing this. Well, I guess Jor-El would be the one who has to bring back Doomsday, where Superman goes to get Doomsday and go, I need you to fight this fucker for me.
That's what, and like he said that Star Labs thing, he's like, this is something I thought I would never do. And in the Doomsday storyline,
Holy shit, I forgot about...
he buries him in fucking Star Labs research facility.
You just reminded me of the worst thing about this fucking issue. I'm going to give it a 4 because of this. Flash in this issue is the worst I've ever I've seen that character. He said twice. I had to read twice. Flash say, caca poo poo.
Yes.
That was so
And I
stupid.
was like, this is the fucking worst thing I've ever read in my life.
I would have had rather them just hashtag the I said shit. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, there's that symbol on Rogolzar's arm, which looks exactly basically like the Flash's symbol. They're like, looks like a squiggly line with a circle around it. Like, it doesn't look like a conveniently sized, lightning bolt with a circle. Like, duh, I can see it. Like, I've seen the symbol like the last 18 years of my life.
Yeah.
Like,
I like when I didn't. For Caesars, I didn't like. But when the Justice League shows up, they go, "Hey, we're here," and it's like, all right.
And then they fly out to space. And Supergirl's like, "If you can fly with me." Like, yeah, no shit. Like,
No fucking shit.
what else are we gonna do? Yeah, it's a big letdown, and
You know what? 4 is a good grade
Going down
for
to
this
4. I
book.
forgot about caca poop.
Yeah,
I just forgot
that
about
lowered
all
it. I'll go down to 4 too.
when they're all like, "We're here." Yeah, we see that.
I know.
I do give him chops that he knows how to write
Justice League. We're here.
I think he is doing good at like homaging Superman as a character, not in the plot. But I think he gets like his mannerisms. Again, and I'll say this until he proves otherwise, his Clark Kent is absolute bullshit.
To be fair, we haven't seen Clark Kent other than him being at Smallville or at their Smith Farm or whatever name they're going by now.
Well, no, I mean we saw him in issue 2 when he's at the bullpen.
Are they at the? No, I know that, but I'm recently it's only been Superman. Other than, are they at the apartment now? Or are they back out in Smallville? In that, and where their flashback
Technically,
is
it's that Hamilton.
Can I also say?
Well, no, they're in the apartment because that's the end.
And so they're in the apartment.
Whoever decided to make this thing 6 issues should be ashamed.
It should have been
This should
3
be
or 4.
2 or 3 issues and done.
Oh God, Jason Fabak, he literally has to draw 6 pages probably. For
That's
this
what I
whole
mean.
thing.
Literally, he adds one panel an issue, and for the guy to step out and be like, "Hey guys, I'm Jor-El."
There are so many other villains they could have had. Like, why couldn't it be? I know it's overdone, but why couldn't it be Zod? And Zod takes Lois and John to the Phantom Zone, and he's like, "If you come into the Phantom Zone, I'll kill them," or something cool like that. Instead, you pick the most safe thing, the most recent villain, and do nothing with it, and change John so much that he's like, I'm gonna go to space with Grandpa, who killed a bunch of people that I love.
This Man of Steel, I wish it actually would have been the what was the group of bad guys in Action Comics? I think it was Action Comics that it was oh shit, it's not Annihilator. What's the purple Kryptonian's name? Eraser?
Eradicator.
Oh,
Eradicator. Do that with Cyborg, Superman, and Zod, and get those guys back, because that would have been a great, like, Sinister Six Man of Steel thing, where that makes sense to have it 6 issues long. He's just getting the shit kicked out of him. Even when Supergirl shows up, she's getting the shit kicked out of her. I hate this. I hate this 6 issue.
By the way, the more and more I stare at this, what's his name? The bad guy?
Rogolzar.
His fucking design looks stupid as hell.
Two-faced rodent thing.
He does not look intimidated at all. I look at him being like,
He looks like Doomsday, but furry.
Well, I just assume, you know what, if he came down to Earth and would stay down there and stop flying around like a wuss, the Justice League could just destroy him.
Yeah.
you know what? Going down again. 3. The more we talk about this book, it fucking keeps going down and down. It's probably the worst thing I read all year.
Yeah, it was bad.
CaCa poo poo. I know.
Should name this episode.
It was CaCa poo poo.
Man of Steel number 5, The Terrifics number 5, Sentry number 1, Killer Be Killed number 20, Saga number 53, and Venom number 3. Those are the comic books. Make sure to go to your local comic book shop or buy them online and catch up. That Man of Steel. Pass away. Pass on. Well,
Die.
You'll want to pass away when you read that. SuperCon 2018, Return of the Con, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. Tickets on sale at supercon.com. Alex, we're going to be there doing a show, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to be there on the 28th doing a live show for everyone. What's it going to be called? Wednesday Comics After Dark.
And not only us are going to be there, a lot of people are going to be there. Phil Hester, right, Garrett?
Yes, Phil Hester, the current artist of Batman Beyond. He's done other projects like Shipwreck. He's done some Swamp Thing that you may or may not have seen, and some Holland Files that came out recently.
Not only Phil, Science Steve, Shea Fontana, Tony Fleece, Travis Nye, Midwest, all doing a show the 28th. They'll be doing a show that night. That's the main attraction that night. Jill Thompson, Ryan Cody, John Allen, and more. Tom Wynn. Going to be at supercon.com. Make sure there's a lot going on that weekend. I would say, if I am going to tell you any kind of advice, buy that weekend pass. You won't regret it. You got MAP concert that night also. You got Wednesday Comics After Dark. And then you got a whole weekend of stuff to do, people to see. Supercon.com for more information. But if you're somebody new and you're like, I want to get into this comic book game, I want to figure out, where do I start? We're here to give you a little guide. Now, we've done this 2 times in the past, so if we repeat any, obviously, I didn't have time to go back and listen to the first time we did it, so we might repeat some. Who knows? Sorry. But if you're new to the show, guess what? Brand new to you. I did listen to the last one, so I know what we talked about. So if there's one that we've done before, I'll let you know. But, Alex, if somebody was brand new, they came up to you and said, Alex, I know you do a comic book podcast. I know you're into comic books. This happens every Christmas, every gathering of family. At least somebody, when I'm at the in-laws, says, hey, I hear you like comic books. They ask you, what do I start on? What do you tell them?
You know, I had a different book on my list, and I actually chose, I think Skyward is actually a book that I would suggest to people. It's not a overly hard to understand. Gravity goes away. Sometimes people float into space and they die, or cars float away, or, I think he's a professor. Her dad's a professor, or a smart man who saw this coming, knows how to fix it, went into business with some jackass who, kind of roughs up his daughter a little bit. This girl is smart. I wanted to go for a book that was not a superhero-ish book. Because you can read a Batman, you could read a Long Halloween, or you could read something else. You could read your Superman. Depending on what Superman you like, you can read a different book. If you like Grounded, unfortunate for you, you've got bad taste.
Yeah, not a good
At least read Secret Identity if you're going to read a Superman book.
But though I could argue that Grounded is better than this entire Man of Steel.
I would agree. I haven't read Grounded, but it sounds better than this garbage. But Skyward is one of those books that it is a not necessarily a real life take on anything, but it just kind of gives that fun fantasy of, wait, what happens if gravity was gone? What happens if I happen to be is the right word a courier, where I deliver things? So I'm a courier. I carry a gun, but not to actually hurt anybody. It's in case I go too far up into the atmosphere, I need to shoot myself back down. Not shoot myself literally, but aim up and shoot. I read issue 3 earlier this week. This book looks amazing. That art is so good. And the story, this is one of those books I'm reading, I'm going, wow, this guy's a jackass. I really hope someone shoots him, not down onto the ground, but shoots him in the face and kills him. There's stakes in this book for me. There are, I can't wait for the next issue type of thing. I think it would be one of those books, hey, when this comes out as a collection, providing it continues to carry on this way, I'd be telling you, pick up this book. This is a great book if you're looking for a good art with a simplistic story.
Garrett,
Story, sorry.
Garrett, what do you recommend?
I'm going to start off with Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 1. I mean, the original Volume 1 of Ultimate Spider-Man, Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Bagley. Yes, it's an origin story, but it's a alternate universe. When they started the Ultimate Universe, it was supposed to be completely different continuity. I don't think you could read... I mean, Bagley's art is so pleasing to the eye. Bendis is close to his prime when he's writing this, when he's beginning this, and it's probably one of the best series I've ever read. But it is so easy to understand Spider-Man as a character, to be able to read comic books, because literally, Bagley is a very organized guy. Like, he does not draw all over the place.
Yeah.
And if you, like, Spider-Man has one of the best rogues galleries of all time. And in this series, like, literally on the edge of each issue or arc, you get to see who's the new villain that he's fighting. It says, like, Kraven, or it says Venom Saga, or there's all these fun little, not crossovers, but, like, little events inside its own book. And it's such a blast to read. Literally...
I was just going to say, just to say, because you just mentioned his name, the only one thing I don't like about that series is Kraven is a wimp. So, but go on.
Well, yeah, but Ultimate Spider-Man seems more powerful than regular Amazing Spider-Man.
But I think that's one of those things that's fun about that universe is the fact that he isn't that super strong. He is literally an actor who is all for the publicity. And when he decides to pick a fight with Spider-Man...
I thought you were talking about Spider-Man for a second. I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about?
No, Kraven. Sorry, that Kraven is doing this for a publicity stunt. Turns out, hey, Spider-Man really is strong, and he just beat the shit out of me.
Well, like I said, it's different continuity. Like, Green Goblin actually turns into a goblin.
Yeah.
Like, a legit hulking goblin. So there's a lot of things that, like, twist the mythos a little bit, but I think it's one of the best times I've ever read a comic book. It's one of my first complete comic book series that I've ever read. I think any new reader would enjoy the shit out of that book. Marvin?
It's Ultimate Spider-Man. I think maybe, don't quote me on this, and I'm not saying that that's a bad choice, because it's a good choice, but I think we talked about it the first time. I don't remember. But
it sounds familiar, but I know we've talked about it before on the show, regardless.
But it is worth bringing up over and over again, because it is one of the greatest runs, especially up to when there's obviously conclusion to that series, and it's great. My first one, and this probably came up too, I don't know, didn't have time to research this one for the first episode, but I don't think so. Lock and Key by...
Really?
It does sound familiar.
Gabriel Rodriguez and Joe Hill. And it is a great series from beginning to end. It is something, and I think it's new reader friendly because, the series is going to be coming out soon, and you're going to want to see where it came from. I bet you anything you're going to watch that show and be like, hey, let me see the series. I mean, the book that it came from. It's very cinematic. The art is great. And it's like a horror book, but it's still about family. And it's kind of like, if you like Stephen King, which, I mean, if you are somebody who does not really the comics, but you read books and you like Stephen King, it really does touch on a lot of things that he does. Family, horror, creepy house, things like that. So it's a really, and it's a really interesting concept. It's Lock and Key. They go to this house. There's all these keys that have special abilities. And it's about this evil entity wants the keys for their own ends, but the Locke family has to protect the keys against them. So it's good. It takes place over a lot of time. It gets darker every once in a while, and then every once in a while it's fun. So it's cool.
I actually had a different book that I was going to use, and I after you brought up Lock and Key, one of your favorite series, I'm going to bring up one of my favorite series, Fables.
Oh,
So it's a book about what other than fables. So you've got your Cinderellas or your Belles or your Beast or whomever, Prince Charmings, and they used to live in the fairy tale land. They ended up having to escape and become refugees into New York, where they get their own little fable town to live in. And there's actually a farm where all the not characters who can't pass as humans have to live there. So giants or the Three Little Pigs, they live out there. And you just kind of go through these different character moments. You've got the Big Bad Wolf is actually the sheriff. You've got it's not Midas. I think it's King Cole is actually the mayor. So they're having these, they all have jobs, they all have lives, they all have things that are going on. There's Prince Charming's, married half the women in this town and cheated on every one of them with the other girls anyway. And you're just like, hey, you're a dickhole. But yeah, this book is so good. The art is so strong. It's Bill Willingham. Right.
Yes.
I got into this book just due to the covers look so good. And then as I kept reading, the first arc is a little more wordy. And then once you get into that second arc and it just blows you away, I binge read that book. I'm still missing 3 titles left to get. So good. So strong. If you like fable characters at all, this is a book to read.
Great pick, Fabales. Go ahead and look that up. Garrett?
If someone goes looking for a book called Fabales, it's on you.
Did I say Cole today? Hot Fabales. Are we only doing 2 picks?
Yeah.
Okay. This one, it's a 4-issue mini, but I think if you're looking for more of a nonfiction piece, something to kind of get you into the crime genre, Snowblind from Boom Studios. You're following it from the perspective of a teenager witnessing weird stuff going on from the adults around him, in his family, and in his neighborhood. And it looks beautiful. It takes place in Alaska, I believe.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah, in Alaska. And so the art is fantastic, and the story itself is very compelling. Every time I'm filing my comics and I come across Snowblind, I'm like, man, that was a great series.
I think that's one of those I need to reread because that was a good 4-issue run.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of the fun thing about comics is you can still tell great nonfiction stories that are still not, I don't, what do you call that? I don't know. You guys stop dropping shit?
I didn't know what that was.
Great pick. That's a shout out to Alaska.
Yeah, our one listener. Keep it up.
Go ahead and pick that up, Snow Globe.
Snowblind, you ass.
My final pick, and it's fresh off the mind, is Kill or Be Killed. Just concluded, so you can go and pick up that whole thing. It's a great entry if you want to get into the Sean Phillips, Eddie Brubaker. And,
are you making new nicknames now?
Betty Breweister kind of universe, I'll say. They're not connected, but that, it could be your first entry. You read that. It is completed 20 issues. It's not that long. It's probably 4 trades, right?
Yeah.
4 trade will come out in a month or so.
It's probably out right now.
You think? With issue 20?
Yeah. Before I was waiting for the next issue to come out. I bet you think it's out right away. I'll check in a second here so I can give you a recommendation. But if you get this, and these are recommendations, but it's not part of my list. But this will get you into that universe. If you like this, there's definitely more that this team has done that you can go down that. Fade Out, Criminal, Fatale. By the way, at the end of the letter pages, he says Fade Out. The sequel's coming next, so you can go and read that. So
is that what that long titled book was going to be?
No, that's original graphic novel.
Okay.
So get into this. I think if you look into a crime genre. It's something that's gritty and it has a lot of commentary and it's more of a character piece. Kill or Be Killed, and it has great art by Sean Phillips and great colors by Betty. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and get into this. And like I said, if you enjoy this, get into that other stuff because other stuff is as great as this, but it's different. It twists on the genre. You want old Hollywood stuff? Fade Out. You want criminal stories or kind of like one-shot graphic novels? Criminal. If you want to get into Fatale, it's kind of
so supernatural-ish.
Supernatural.
I totally shout out to Criminal. Criminal is probably my favorite that they write or do work on.
Yeah, so go ahead and pick up Eddie and Sean and Betty's book. And
Shawnee.
So that was Killed or Be Killed.
Kill or Be Killed.
No, Killed or Be Killed.
Killed
I'm trying to ruin the book that you named.
Killed.
After Fabales and
Volume 4. Let's see here. What do you guys think? Is it out and ready, or is it coming out in a month?
A month.
What's the bets?
I would say that's gotta. I would think they've got to let the issue sell.
Following the trends,
Later.
I would say a month.
August 21.
Of course.
So you can pick up a whole 4 trades.
Garrett and Alex, number 1.
Those are some recommendations. We also have more, and if you want to know it, let us contact us. WednesdayComics605@gmail.com. We'll let you know what some things. If you're interested in even a character specifically, and you ever want to know, feel free to drop us a line and say, hey, I'm interested in Green Lantern. Where do I start? I'm interested in Batman. Where do I start? We'll get you some little picks. Or you can go on Twitter and ask at Alex Pastrello. He'll let you know. Ask him about Punisher. Ask him about what else?
Turtles.
Oh, TMNT. This guy does work.
Say you want TMNT, I'll tell you.
At Garrot2188. Let him know if you want to read Superman. He'll tell you what to read. Obviously,
Superman Red Sun.
He's going to recommend that Grounded story to everybody.
Hey, better Man of Steel. I thought it was rock bottom, but I thought it was Grounded. But now it could be better.
Marvin and Saguaro, if you want to reach me, and I'll let you know about some books I forgot about. That
Descender. You'll let them know about Descender, of course.
It's good. Sending soon. So it'll be completed soon. Wednesday Comics. At Wednesday Comics, you can follow all of us, and that's where the news goes out. That's where you know when something's happening at the show. So be subscribed. You'll know things ahead of time, and that's what you want to do. By the way, speaking of subscriptions, subscribe to the show on iTunes. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or Spotify. Let your friends know. Go to their house, hack into their computer legally, and subscribe to the show for them, and then they get a nice little treat. They'll log into their computer and say, what's this Wednesday Comics? They won't get mad. That's good.
Thanks for that treat.
Facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. Like the page on Facebook and let us know. Because every time you click that like button, Mark Zuckerberg gets a little notification and it says somebody like Wednesday Comics, and he falls asleep better that night. So, hey Garrett, we have go to YouTube and find us on YouTube and subscribe to us there. You can see the Gauntlet when Garrett's on it. You can see Catching Up with Garrett.
Don't forget about Alex.
Sorry, you did. The last one was that Garrett
Home
only.
Edition 2.0. Don't worry about it.
But these two do it too together. And you can find
Grayson
Garrett on Catching Up with Garrett. No one coming soon?
It's turning into a quarterly show.
And for more videos there, like I said, season 3, we're looking to do more videos. So we'll make sure you subscribe to that so you can get them right away. And
I got a thing though. How about every time Lazarus comes out in the future, I'll do a Catching Up with Garrett episode.
605-215-1849. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play in the show and talk to you if you want to address something or you have a question. That's the phone number you call. Let's tell you. That's the bat line, same bat number, new bat channel. No, that's not even correct. Book club. We have a book club here.
Wednesday Comics League of Extraordinary Gentle People proudly presents
Saga, the Swamp Thing, Book 1, by Alan Moore. It is coming up hot 2 weeks from now. John Boylan from rootsoftheswampthing.com, your definitive source for all things Swamp Thing. Follow him on DC World Swampy on Twitter or on Facebook at facebook.com/Roots of the Swamp Thing. The man will be here to give his expert opinion. Recently I've been watching a lot of documentaries about crime, and they bring up experts to the stand to ask them questions to get expert opinions, and that's going to be John Boylan here when he comes for that show. And then every once in a while they bring up just people to talk about somebody's character, and that's going to be us. And the character people, they're not reliable, and that's us. So that's why you got to bring the experts on. And so we'll talk about that book, and we'll let you know. SuperCon 2018, Return of the Con, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. Make sure you get that weekend pass and stop by Wednesday Comics after dark on that Friday. We're going to be, doing a show. There's going to be a lot going on, a lot of games, a lot of fun, and you need to be in that audience. If you're not in that audience, well, you're somewhere else. Guys, another show. We help some people out with some new stuff. DC put out more news on their universe, and you know what? Not bad. Week of Books, pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. There's one I was clunker, and that thing might have been like when you
CaCa poo poo.
It might have been because these things were only
I can't even take that seriously. I can't believe I read that in a Superman book.
How soon until I see on the Flash TV show he says CaCa poo poo?
Oh jeez. Next season, first episode.
Why would that even come up? Like obviously, like Alex said, he was going to say shit. You're full of shit. He says, "Oh, he's full of caca poo poo." It sounds like fucking Beavis on Beavis and Butthead. Oh, caca poo poo.
Maybe that's what Bendis thinks the Flash is. He thinks he's.
That's what I mean.
Beavis and
He
Butthead.
reduced this guy that is super smart. He's a scientist. He reduced this guy to a third grader in a class being like, "Oh, that is caca poo poo."
So I guess so far that we're 2 out of 5. Bendis can write 2 out of 5 decent Superman issues.
To be
So
fair,
that's not a good.
To be fair to
good
Bendis,
ratio.
this caca poo poo is getting a lot of laughs on the show. So maybe that's.
I think they need to do a little fix. Have Bruce come down, or even Superman go. Here's that wakes up. Go, holy shit! What did I just hear? Comes down and bitch slaps.
like when he does Robin.
He walks into the room. He goes, "Did I just hear somebody say caca poo poo in here?" They all point to the Flash, and you're
And
right.
Batman's like,
he just
"Huh."
walks up and fucking punches him in the face, and he's like, "All right,
You're off the team.
guys, this is obviously an imposter. There's no way Flash is saying."
Well, maybe
caca
it's
poo
like the Justice League movie. You got Wally as Barry, and that's why he's cracking jokes the whole time.
poo. You know what? I'm your caca poo poo host. My name is Marvin.
I'm Alex.
No caca poo poo. I'm Garrett.
Hey everyone, keep turning those pages.